MMA Fighting presents Timeline, Holloway vs. Aldo 2. November 18th, 2009, WEC 44, Brown vs. Aldo, Las Vegas, Nevada. After building a 5-0 record in the WEC, with all 5 wins by knockout, Aldo is booked in his first main event against featherweight champion Mike Brown. Aldo finishes Brown in the second round to become the WEC featherweight champion. Aldo would go on to defend his WEC belt 2 more times, against Uriah Faber and Manny Gamburian, before the Zuffa-owned promotion folds and the roster is merged into the UFC. November 20th, 2010, UFC 123, Rampage vs. Machida, Detroit, Michigan. Before the night of fights, the UFC officially announced Jose Aldo the inaugural UFC featherweight champion.
Well, obviously a very big deal. I know you've dreamed of this moment for a long time. Did you ever think that you would get the UFC belt in a ceremony inside an empty arena like that, just in front of a few media members? Kind of a different situation than some of the other champions have had.
Não, acho que eu esperava ganhar lutando, né, lá em cima, mas
I thought I would win the belt by fighting, but it's such an honor for Dana to present me with this belt today, and it's a dream come true.
April 30th, 2011, UFC 129, St. Pierre vs. Shields, Toronto, Ontario. Aldo was booked to defend his belt for the first time in the UFC against Canada's own Mark Hominick, as the co-main event for the blockbuster event at the Rogers Centre in front of over 55,000 fans.
Now that it is fight week, do you sense any difference between being a WEC fighter as opposed to a UFC fighter? Does it feel any different to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's like just a different color. It's like, the WEC was blue and the UFC is black, and it's like I said, it was a dream of mine, and I'm just happy to be here and fight.
Aldo defeats Hominick by unanimous decision. The fight is awarded a Fight of the Night bonus of $129,000. October 8th, 2011, UFC 136, Edgar vs. Maynard 3, Houston, Texas. Jose Aldo is booked once again in the co-main event, this time facing former lightweight title challenger Kenny Florian.
What do you think of Kenny Florian as a 145er? Did you watch his fight against Diego Nunes, and if so, do you think he's better at 145 than he is at 155, or vice versa?
Yeah, I mean, when I saw the fight, I saw the same things I saw from Kenny at 155. He has a very good strategy. He's got a lot of experience. He's a smart fighter. But to me, I didn't see a difference in 155 to 145. I think it's the same Kenny. He's good. He's a good fighter, and I don't see a problem with it.
Aldo dominates Florian and wins by unanimous decision.
Bom golpe, no Kenny, o Kenny é lutador muito experiente. Se eu fosse muito para cima, com certeza o meu jogo não ia encaixar com o dele. Então eu esperei.
I had to pace it a little bit in this fight. I knew if I was too explosive that Kenny could end up beating me, so I had to really pace. I couldn't be as explosive as I wanted to in the fight, and everybody was kind of telling me to hold back, so I just kept it cool and studied the fight.
January 14th, 2012, UFC 142, Aldo vs. Mendes, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Aldo is matched up against undefeated wrestler Chad Mendes as the main event. After a very competitive round, Aldo knocks out Mendes with the knee, only 1 second remaining in the first round. Aldo would run into the crowd in one of the most memorable finishes and celebrations ever in MMA history. February 4th, 2012, UFC 143, Diaz vs. Condit, Las Vegas, Nevada. 20-year-old Max Holloway makes his UFC debut on late notice against Dustin Poirier. Holloway would suffer his first defeat by first-round submission. Holloway would go on to win his next 3 matches, including a victory over Leonard Garcia, before losing a close match against Dennis Bermudez, bringing his UFC record to 3-2. February 2nd, 2013, UFC 156, Aldo vs. Edgar, Las Vegas, Nevada. Aldo is set to face former UFC lightweight champion Frankie Edgar in the main event.
Is this the biggest fight of your career? Does it feel bigger than even when you fought Hominick in Toronto, because they call this a super fight? Frankie Edgar, we've been talking about it. Does it feel different than the others?
Para mim é a mesma coisa, eu não vejo diferença nenhuma, né? Eu estou acostumado a grandes desafios na minha vida, sempre foi assim desde o início da minha carreira, então a expectativa é de dar o melhor lá dentro, que corresponder à altura ao que todos estão falando.
I don't feel any difference. I'm used to great fights and to build up the expectations, and I see Saturday's fight just as another fight in my life.
Aldo wins a competitive but clear unanimous decision victory over the answer. The fight earns both competitors Fight of the Night honors.
Então, para mim, a luta sempre foi parelha pelo
The
fato.
question was, with all the talks about being such a close fight, how did he rate the rounds? And he said he feels he won every round except maybe 1 minute of the fourth round. He connected a lot more punches, a lot more strikes. He defended the takedowns. Frankie was always coming forward, but he feels that he won the rounds.
August 3rd, 2013, UFC 163, Aldo vs. Korean Zombie, Rio de Janeiro. Aldo returns to Rio once again as the main event against Sengoku and WEC alumni Chan Sung-jung. Jung suffers a shoulder injury late in the fight, leading to Aldo winning by 4th round TKO. August 17th, 2013, UFC Fight Night 26, Shogun vs. Sonnen, Boston, Massachusetts. Holloway is set to face Conor McGregor in the prelims. Holloway loses to McGregor by unanimous decision. The fight was expected to be a striking battle, but each fighter suffers leg injuries in the match, McGregor with a knee injury and Holloway with an ankle injury. February 1st, 2014, UFC 169 Brow vs. Faber 2, Newark, New Jersey. Aldo faces Ricardo Lamas in the co-main event. Jose Aldo wins by unanimous decision. Aldo's record climbs to 24 wins with only 1 loss. April 26, 2014, UFC 172 Jones vs. Teixeira, Baltimore, Maryland. After getting back on the winning track with a knockout victory over Will Shope, Holloway returns to face top prospect Andre Fili. Holloway shows off his submission skills with an impressive guillotine choke in the 3rd round. Max Holloway would go on to win 3 more fights over Clay Collard, Akira Corsani, and Cole Miller. October 25th, 2014, UFC 179 Aldo vs. Mendes 2, Rio de Janeiro. Aldo is set to face Mendes in a rematch of UFC 142. Jose Aldo defeats Mendes by unanimous decision. This would also be Aldo's most competitive match as champion, and it earns Fight of the Night honors. April 18th, 2015, UFC on Fox 15, Rockhold vs. Machida, Newark, New Jersey. Now on a 5-fight win streak, Holloway is set to face top contender Cub Swanson.
So, you know, your story is a great one because you're so young. You're 24, correct? Or you're about to turn 24. And you came into the UFC at such a young age, short notice fight, right? And we didn't really get to see the real you. Then after the Poirier fight, I think we got a sense of that. And then you stumbled a little bit, but now recently, 5 in a row, and you've looked incredible. What's been the biggest difference as of late?
My maturity, you know, and that first couple of fights, I didn't really have a striking coach, you know. It's only me and my boy Dustin Kimura, you know. We was helping each other out, you know, and just being each other's mid-man, you know. And it was hard, you know, because we wanted to be full-time fighters, you know. So it's hard holding mitts for each other and working with each other. But now I got 2 striking coaches. You know, I got Ivan Flores over at Legacy Muay Thai, and then I got Hawaii Elite MMA Charles Kilipi. So it's awesome, you know. It's great. And now I got guys that can worry about watching fight and breaking down fights and making combinations, and I don't have to worry too much about it.
In a breakout performance, Holloway dominates Swanson and finishes him by submission late in the 3rd round. The victory earns Performance of the Night honors for Holloway.
What kind of position does this put you in? Do you sit back and wait till July and see what happens, or are you ready to go out and take another fight and let the title fight figure itself out in the summer?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a matchmaker. That's not my job. You know, we see what Dana White, what Sean Shelby, Joe Silva want to do with me. You know, we take one step at a time. That's what we've been doing, and it's been working out for us.
Holloway would follow up this victory with wins over Charles Oliveira and Jeremy Stevens. December 12, 2015, UFC 194 Aldo vs. McGregor, Las Vegas, Nevada. Originally scheduled for UFC 189, Aldo is set to face then interim featherweight champion Conor McGregor as the main event. In one of the most shocking knockouts in the UFC history, McGregor defeats Aldo in only 14 seconds. Conor McGregor is the new UFC featherweight champion. The loss snaps Aldo's 18-fight win streak. June 4th, 2016, UFC 199, Rockhold vs. Bisping 2, Inglewood, California. Max Holloway faces perennial top contender Ricardo Lamas. Holloway wins by decision and improves his win streak to 9 in a row. July 9th, 2016, UFC 200, Tate vs. Nunes, Las Vegas, Nevada. Aldo is set to rematch Frankie Edgar for the interim featherweight championship. Jose Aldo dominates Edgar and cruises to a unanimous decision. Aldo is now the interim featherweight champion. December 10th, 2016, UFC 206, Holloway vs. Pettis, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Holloway is booked in his first pay-per-view main event opposite former lightweight champion Anthony Pettis.
The matchup is great, you know, it's a fan favorite, it's what fans want to see, but every time I go out there, you know, I either go out there to finish you, and if you don't get finished, I'm making people wonder as why is this guy in there with Max, you know, make this guy look easy, you know, that's what I try to do. So I think the matchup is great, but December 10th, tune in. We got some stuff up our sleeves, and I can't wait to show them.
The Hawaiian finishes Pettis late in the third round via strikes. Max Holloway is the new interim UFC featherweight champion.
I said it in there in February, you know, and then when everything was slowing down, I was in the back. I was thinking of I already had to give up Thanksgiving for this fight. I had to give up my birthday, and you know, and it's hard to find the guy, you know. Like I said, you know, hashtag Jose, where's Jose Aldo, and let me know when you find him. You know, teamwork is the dream work. You know, if more of us is looking for him, we're gonna find him together. But we see what happens. You know, I don't know. I don't want to give up my son's birthday and Christmas for February 11th, and he don't show up. You know, this guy has an act for not showing up to the fight. So we see what happens. You know, maybe I gotta talk to Dana White first, man. I got a brunch that I want to do. Sit down with him and Sean Selby, and we can talk. We can talk some business.
June 3rd, 2017, UFC 212, Aldo vs. Holloway, Rio de Janeiro. The interim champion, Max Holloway, is set to face champion Jose Aldo at the Je ne sais Arena to determine who will be the undisputed UFC featherweight champion. Holloway defeats Aldo and is now the undisputed UFC featherweight champion.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. King Max is here, guys. Blessed era. Welcome. We can now take questions. No, you know, I don't want money fights, you know. Dana White told me, we had a meeting before, and he said, this is big game hunting. The bigger the game you bring in to the table, the more bigger paychecks you get. And I think Aldo is he's a silverback gorilla, you know. Now I want my paycheck, you know. I don't want money fights. I want to get paid. And like I said, I want to defend my throne, you know. I'm going to be here for a long time, and you know, why not do it in Hawaii? Who in here doesn't want to go to Hawaii? Raise your hand. Yeah, or just stand up and yeah, actually, if you don't want to go to Hawaii, just stand up and leave. I don't want to take questions from you. Right now, to be honest, all I got on my mind right now is your guys' acai, man. Real's acai is for real. And I want some acai with cashew nuts and powdered milk. Big Polies, you a real one. We've been eating acai a whole week over there. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys. Big Polly's tomorrow. Big acai party.
December 2nd, 2017, UFC 218, Holloway vs. Aldo 2, Detroit, Michigan. UFC 218 was originally booked as Max Holloway vs. Frankie Edgar. A few weeks out, Edgar is forced to withdraw from his title bid due to injury. The UFC rebooks Jose Aldo, who was already booked to face Ricardo Lamas in Winnipeg, to rematch the champ as the main event for UFC 218.